Shout out to Christine Brennan. Team USA, y'all need to stop playing. Hold on, wait a second. Y'all will recognize and appreciate Caitlin Clark as the face of this whole get-up. Nobody's checking for these other, no disrespect. Great basketball players. That don't mean people checking for you. You mean to tell me y'all put other people's face all on the Team USA stuff and y'all left Caitlin Clark off of it?
Look at the reaction you just witnessed. That is not simply someone being disappointed. That is true, utter disbelief. Here's why. USA Basketball just released their promotional materials for the December training camp. And the single biggest name in women's basketball is conspicuously absent from the illustration. She's not hiding in the back. She isn't in tiny font. She is simply not there. We're talking about the player who single-handedly increased WNBA viewing by 400% in her inaugural season. The player whose jersey sold more than any other athlete in women's sports. All of them combined. Instead, USA Basketball chose to include Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, and Khalil Copper in the promotional graphics. Christine Brennan, who has covered Olympic basketball since 1984, broke the story around midnight on Friday. And her reaction tells you everything you need to know about how serious this mistake is.
To go all out promoting women's basketball, bring new fans in, and get unprecedented attention for a team that dropped in TV viewership at the Paris Olympics. That's right. The women's USA viewership dropped at the Olympics in Paris. Nobody was watching it. They would have added the photo of one of the player to this graphic, but no.
And she kept going, describing the context that makes the whole situation look much worse. The women's basketball squad at the Paris Olympics saw a significant drop in viewership compared to previous events. According to Brennan, TV ratings plummeted, owing primarily to the lack of compelling incentive for casual sports fans to tune in. Sure, the diehard basketball fans were present, but the far larger public, which generates advertising dollars and media coverage, simply did not watch. Now, consider what happened during Caitlin Clark's debut season in the WNBA. The Indiana Fever games received an average of 1.2 million viewers on television. The games she played in drew crowds that women's basketball hadn't seen in almost 2 decades. Arenas that are usually half empty were entirely sold out weeks before the game even began. USA Basketball had the ideal blueprint right in front of them. They saw the entire WNBA season. They saw the numbers. They noticed the stuff flying off the shelves. They noticed international media outlets bringing reporters over particularly to cover a single player. And their response to all of this information was to leave her off their promotional graphic.
Yeah, well, I've given it, as you know, over the last 60 hours. I broke the news right around midnight, Friday to Saturday morning. And I think on both fronts, merit and publicity, you, of course, mentioned it, it's just a total swing and a miss by the national governing body, by USA Basketball, just a missed opportunity. And but I'll start with my answer by saying I have covered this women.
Now, listen carefully to what Brennan says about reporting the gold medal games. She discusses her experience standing in the press tribune, the unique media area at the Olympics. And she literally uses the term tumbleweeds to characterize the number of people that attended a gold medal game for the most dominant squad in Olympic basketball history. I mean, the United States women's basketball team hasn't lost an Olympic game since 1992. They've won 7 straight gold medals. You may legitimately argue that they are the most successful team in any Olympic event, men's or women's. Nonetheless, journalists tasked with covering basketball choose to skip their game since the audience is simply not large enough to make the coverage worthwhile. Bob Ryan, one of America's most famous basketball journalists, discussed this same topic with Brennan at the 2012 London Olympics. That was 12 years ago. So, this issue is not new. What is new is that women's basketball has finally had a solution fall into its lap, and USA Basketball is looking at it and actively opting not to implement it.
Caitlin Clark on that team, the team that so richly deserves attention and doesn't get it and won't get it without her. because there's just so much going on in an Olympics. On that same day, there probably will be 30 other gold medals given out, and sports editors and others have to make a decision. Do you go to Simone Biles? Do you go to women's soccer? Where do you go? It's not, there's just too much going on. You put Caitlin Clark on that team, and every single one of those guys that can't stand women's.
Interview 4. And pay attention to the section concerning male sports journalists. Brennan is not attempting to be kind about this. She is only articulating a fact that many individuals in the sports media will not admit publicly. Some media will surely cover the men's Olympic basketball squad, while refusing to cover the women's team. This applies even when both teams are competing in the same arena. That's not a scheduling issue. That's a calculated decision based on what they believe their audience is interested in. These journalists choose what to cover based on what their editors approve and what their readers click on. So when they omit women's basketball, they're essentially telling you that their audience doesn't care. Except that the entire formula changes for the 2024 WNBA season. Suddenly, the same reporters who wouldn't cover women's basketball were rushing for press credentials to Indiana Fever games. International media outlets were sending reporters to Indianapolis solely to cover a rookie point guard. Brennan even recalls a British journalist she met at the Masters golf event who informed her that he was planned to cover Caitlin Clark during the Olympics. The demand was certainly present. The international interest was present. The media was ready to go. But USA Basketball left her off the Olympic roster entirely, citing the need to reward veterans and foster team harmony.
In 1992, Rich, the men's team, how that grew basketball around the world, especially for boys and men. And where it reached, Africa. Well, the opportunity with Caitlin Clark's popularity, Africa, Europe, Asia. Think of how many number 22 USA jerseys would have been sold. Money that could have then been pumped back in to help have developmental programs.
Interview 5. She is now drawing a straight line to the 1992 Dream Team. And that isn't unduly dramatic. That is a fantastic parallel. The original Dream Team, which included Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird, accomplished more than just winning a gold medal. They drastically altered how the entire world perceived the game of basketball. Kids in Africa, Europe, and Asia all began playing basketball after watching that team. The NBA's global expansion over the last 30 years may be directly attributed to the Dream Team's worldwide exposure. The league today includes players from 40 different countries, and its international media rights generate billions of dollars in revenue. All of this began with putting the biggest stars on the Olympic stage. Brennan contends that Caitlin Clark represented the same type of possibility for women's basketball, not just in the United States, but globally. Number 22 USA jerseys would have sold out in markets where women's basketball is not even a consideration. Young girls in nations without established women's leagues would have been able to see and emulate a superstar. The financial impact is simply astonishing. USA Basketball might have redirected the apparel revenue back into development projects. They might have used larger media rights deals to finance youth basketball programs around the world. Instead, they chose to favor short-term team cohesion over tremendous long-term growth.
See what I'm saying? Christine Brennan gets it. Brennan gets it. Regardless of how you feel about her, she's been on this stuff from the beginning. Caitlin Clark got disrespected by Team USA when they had her coming off the bench when she was, 17? Y'all had her coming off the bench behind Haley Van Lith. Like, what are y'all talking about?
Here is why Christine Brennan's trustworthiness is so vital in all of this. She isn't just a social media star looking for attention. She is not a fresh reporter looking to make a name for herself by sparking controversy. She has covered every Olympics since 1984, written for major newspapers, and has sources throughout the USA Basketball Organization. So, when she says she's seen the lack of interest with her own eyes, she's referring to 4 decades of standing in empty press sections at gold medal games. When she says her next interview will be with a radio show in New Zealand, she is demonstrating that foreign media is actively seeking to cover the subject. That is unusual for a disagreement over a simple promotional design. That is a global media's recognition that USA Basketball made a move with global consequences. Take note of the timeline. The training camp for December 12th has not yet begun. This is all for promotional purposes for a practice session. It's already a major international media story that should tell USA Basketball everything it needs to know about the magnitude of their mistake.
By Team USA when they had her coming off the bench when she was, 17? Y'all had her coming off the bench behind Haley Van Lith. Like, what are y'all talking about? This stuff has been going on far too long. Team USA, y'all need to get it together. Respect the woman with the throne. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about that.
Now we get to the historical trend that makes this so frustrating. Caitlin Clark has been mishandled by USA Basketball on multiple occasions. When she was 17, she was playing for USA Basketball's youth teams as a bench player. Not beginning, but coming off a bench while Haley Van Lith received starting minutes. Let that settle in for a moment. The player who would go on to beat Pete Maravica's all-time NCAA scoring mark, which had held for 54 years, was coming off a bench for a young national team. The player who would someday garner more media attention than any female basketball player in history was not deemed good enough to start for a junior team. That is not hindsight. Caitlin Clark was already demonstrating exceptional skills at the age of 17. She was already exhibiting court vision and shooting range that set her apart from her colleagues. Thus, USA Basketball's evaluation system decided she should be a reserve player. So here's what the promotional graphic debate really exposes. It's more than just a marketing error. It continues a pattern in which USA Basketball continuously undervalues a player who has done more to advance women's basketball than anybody else in history. Consider what USA Basketball's mission statement truly states. They exist to win medals. Yes, but also to develop the sport. That is explicitly part of their corporate mandate. Growing the sport entails broadening the audience, increasing participation, garnering media attention, and ensuring financial viability. Caitlin Clark is the most valuable asset in women's basketball based on all of these factors. She grew the audience by attracting millions of casual sports viewers who had never seen a Wnba game. She encouraged engagement by encouraging young females to pick up basketballs. She sparked unprecedented media coverage from outlets that had previously ignored women's sports. And she established financial sustainability by demonstrating that women's basketball can be profitable when properly marketed. Throughout the 2024 season, USA Basketball witnessed all of this unfold in real time. They witnessed firsthand the development of their sport's financial viability. When it came time to promote their December training camp, they created a graphic featuring returning Olympians from a team that had low viewership ratings. That isn't simply tone deaf. That is organizational dysfunction. That is a governing body that does not grasp its own product or target audience. The WNBA recently signed a new collective bargaining agreement that significantly improved players' salary and benefits. That agreement took place in a climate in which the league could claim to increasing attendance, viewership, and sponsor interest. All of these advances were substantially driven by the attention Caitlin Clark garnered. Whether they like to admit it or not, players around the league have profited monetarily from her influence. The new CBA is not possible without the power that comes from verifiable audience growth. And that audience increase would not be possible without the athlete who established women's basketball as a must-see for millions of fans. Now, USA Basketball is preparing for the 26th World Cup and the 28th Olympics in Los Angeles. These are enormous opportunities to build on the momentum of the 20. Los Angeles will have larger hometown crowds, prime-time broadcast slots, and foreign media coverage in Paris. But momentum is not self-sustaining. Caitlin Clark introduced casual viewers to women's basketball, and they need a reason to stay interested. They need to witness the player who introduced them to the sport compete on the grandest stage. If USA Basketball leaves her off the roster again or continues to downplay her involvement in promotional materials, those fans will quit. And here's the issue with losing momentum. You do not get it back. The 2024 season was like lightning in a bottle. The combination of generational skill, a fascinating narrative, and a sports media landscape eager for news stories resulted in something unique. USA Basketball can either seize the opportunity or squander it. Right now, they are choosing to waste it. They make decisions based on internal politics, veteran status, and old evaluation metrics, which entirely ignore what is happening in the market. They value the comfort of their current system over the possibility to transform their sport. Christine Brennan has been following the sport for long enough to know when groups make strategic mistakes. She has witnessed USA Basketball dominate on the court, but struggling to generate sustained spectator attention off the court. She's seen gold medal games played with little media coverage and public interest. And now she's witnessing USA Basketball make the same mistakes while having the remedy there in front of them, the player who can fill the press areas. The player who can attract international media attention. The player who can sell jerseys in markets where women's basketball is not even recognized. That player is Caitlin Clark. USA Basketball also left her from their promotional graphics. So the question is not whether this was an error. The question is whether USA Basketball is capable of learning from its mistakes, or whether it will continue down this route until the momentum from the 2024 season fades altogether, because momentum does not endure forever. And once gone, it will not return. What do you believe USA Basketball should do here? Should they modify their promotional materials to include Caitlin Clark? Should they publicly admit the error? Is this just a minor marketing issue that won't affect in the long run? Please share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed since we'll be watching how USA Basketball handles this scenario as we move closer to the December 12th camp.